Welcome to this short interview series on restoring travel confidence. My name is Dolores and I'm a hospitality keynote speaker and trainer, helping companies to build authentic digital connections with their audience.
Thank you for coming today and for tuning in. I'm very pleased to welcome today a very special guest. And this guest today comes from the Maldives. And I'm very happy to have here Afeef Hussain. Welcome.
Thank you, Dolores. It's lovely to be a part of this program. And I'm sure we're going to add good value to our viewers and listeners today.
You've been giving valuable contribution to the conversation around the post-pandemic, all the things that we need to do and implement in hospitality and travel to restore travel confidence. I wanted to introduce you to our audience and to the people that are watching the program, but it really is a job in itself to try to define the work that you do, because you do so many things. So I'll leave that pleasure to you. And tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, my name is Afeef. I'm from the Maldives, and my title is Regional Director at Lux Resorts, and here in looking after both Maldives property, focusing on human capital, quality assurance. Obviously, in quality assurance, the guest experience is involved. So a lot of the time, what guests touch and feel, making sure the standards are in place and checking on it. Also, apart from that, my passion is to serve people. So I am also the president of the Maldives Association of HR Professionals, which I co-founded about 2 years ago, and I've been recently re-elected as the second-term president, where we actually serve the human capital development policies across the nation and also in this region.
With the association, you've just hosted a very, very successful summit. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we had this virtual learning and development conference, which was never done in the Maldives. In fact, when we wanted to do it, many within even our team, they said, well, we shouldn't, it's not going to work. Not many people are going to attend because there was not done before. But obviously, the reality today we live is totally different. We can't have in-person events. People cannot attend events. We had first day 200 participants throughout the day. From morning, there were breaks in between until we finished the event. It was very successful, and people were, I suppose, overwhelmed with what they learned. And then we had a couple of follow-up sessions too.
What were the takeaways of this summit?
The very important topic that we actually put out there was the emotional resilience. So how do you build resilience around when you are a leader to manage people? Whether you are, leading a group of people that, that operates a hotel or any other type of organization. The second topic was a lot about the wellness and well-being of people. So we were talking a lot about, how can we create a culture where when people come back to work, they feel that they've been looked after. We spend a lot of time and effort on things for our guests, but also the same time for team members. But then the other thing which really we spoke about is that during this last 4 months or 5 months of where we are in this situation of the pandemic, we've learned a lot of good things. How technology can help us. What type of messages we should send out there. And we said to people that once we pass this pandemic, once we pass through this, don't forget these things you have learned. Try to keep those things and make it a part of your culture.
I was thinking about when you just mentioned emotional resilience and having the team make them feel like they are looked after. We want to share that we don't just reopen hotels, but we want to share that the social sustainability aspect to it. When I mention social sustainability, I mean, how are we looking after the people during this industry lockdown? And in fact, this is quite a trendy topic. Everybody's very eager to define what is new normal. I could say probably is a way of feeling more comfortable with the reality that we are living in. In your work and from your point of view, how does the new normal look and feel?
I mean, you put a very good context at the beginning. For me, I actually say to my colleagues and also in most of my talk and in conversations to people that there really is no such thing as a new normal. It is, I think, a new mindset that we actually need to bring this post-pandemic, whether it is the way that we will look after our guests and the way we will look after our team members. And I would like to give, sort of a three mindset elements here. Number one is really the care. And for example, anyone who is living and breathing, I mean, it's called a human being, but there's a big difference between being human and human being. And really being human refers to, when you meet with people, when you look after people, the care that you show to them, listen to them, the empathy. And I call this as creating this compassion, the circle of compassion, where you always think from other people's perspective. So you may put a standard in place and that may work very well for you, but it may not work for the other person. So how can you listen to them and keep adjusting it? So I think that's where really the care part comes in. And the second thing is, I think, which is very important element we need to understand, that all our guests that will return to Maldives, and then like you said, in the Maldives, resorts are usually designed where you can practice this physical distancing, because the resorts got a lot of privacy, lots of space. But the important thing is that the guests are going to be very concerned and very concerned about the value that they're going to get based on what they are paying. And really the third point is that, this new operation that we're going to hold and the new mindset is not just about us. I think everybody realized the importance of wellness, importance of health and well-being. So obviously, this is going to be a big part of it. And when you're doing something, are we actually putting all these measures in place? Are we? And people are going to be very concerned. I give this example all the time. When a guest arrives to a hotel before, I suppose they trust the cleaning process, so they will just start enjoying their villa and start using the facilities. There will literally be people who will come to their villa, and before they start using anything, they will start actually, let's say, putting their hand on the minibar counter. If they see dust, that's already, you already lose that guest, right? So the people will be very, very concerned. So we need to be even more concerned to make sure that we don't just say like, it's okay, because it won't be okay anymore. You have to really make sure that things are put in place. And that is, I think, what the new mindset, so in most general language, the new normal is going to look like.
I recently ran a survey on social media where I asked my followers, what would matter, what would make you feel safer in a hotel when you go on to your next vacation? Choice was hygiene or social space. And 75% of the people, I had about nearly 200 votes throughout the survey. And 75% of the people mentioned for them was hygiene. So in fact, it's quite a challenge to communicate about a topic like health and safety and hygiene. You will agree with me, they're not the most appealing topic to talk about in communication. So what do you think should be the key message for today's communication, today's strategy for hotel and hospitality will help restore travel confidence?
3 points again here. Number one is that we spoke a little bit earlier on the question about the care. So we see that almost all the hotel brands, they have their new or revised what you call as a sanitization, a hygiene program, and they would bring the word care. But care is not like it's not a product or something that sits somewhere where you can go and touch and feel. It really is all about how one feels when they walk through your hotel, when they arrive. What if, for example, when guest arrives to an arrival jetty of a hotel or resort or the lobby, you actually have somebody who actually ask the guest to open their hand and pump a little bit of sanitizer, right? That is what you call as care. When you communicate these things and tell it to the guest what is in it for them, right? We're doing it so that we all can get through this together and we can start enjoying the hospitality, the holiday business as we used to do before. And the second thing is, I believe the health has always been a very important element, but we take it always for granted. We realize that the wellness and well-being is the key thing here. So guests are going to be, and the travelers are going to be very focused and concerned about what experiences that we are going to create for them during their stay, because people are not just going to, you can't expect people to stay just inside the room, but also people are worried that they cannot gather in a restaurant like as a communal event. So when you practice physical distancing, how it's going to look like. And I just want to share here a point. I think a lot of people do talk about social distancing. I like to use the word physical distancing, because I think what we are referring literally is to arrange the way how things are, or reconfigure. Because socially, you can still make people connect, right? I mean, you can have, fun events whereby people still stay to, a little bit apart, but they can still enjoy this thing. So I think this wellness is a very, very important thing. So, for example, getting your activities from indoor places to outdoor places, and how do you communicate it? So it has to be around care, it has to be about the experience that you're going to get, and it also has to be about the value that you're going to get. We have to remember, our guests that are going to be returning, not just to Maldives, but every part in the world, will not be spending the same way as they used to spend. People are very cautious. If they spend something, they want to double value in return. So I think these 3 points is quite key when we communicate it and make sure people really understand.
In fact, you just mentioned these 3 points of care, experience, and value. We're not just talking about getting bookings. We're not just talking about getting the business back together. We are talking about going beyond that. This industry is about people to people and not a business to people. So what exactly are you doing at the property level, like in your line of work?
One of the core principles that we are following is really whatever we do for our guests, we're also going to do for team members in terms of especially the hygiene measures. So we're going to be, our experience within our resort, and also in general, if I look around the Maldives, but especially within our resort and within the Lux brand. Number one is about, again, the care for our guests and the team members. So looking and making sure that they, the activity that they do is not just a product base, it's just an experience. So for example, in the fitness, it's going to be more outdoor activities than more indoor activities. The same thing for team members. We have now a dedicated area where our team members can run around the island, and we decided that we'll also keep that post pandemic, that the team members can practice running and stay healthy. I mean, it's just amazing to see the last 4 months how many team members actually lost their weight while running, being stuck on the island. They never had that before. The second thing is really we need to look at, and we already had to look into every touch point of our guests. So areas where the guests will have high touch points, there'll be frequent cleaning programs, there will be frequent quality audits that will be done. Our team member in an area where he's supposed to wear a mask, that he was not wearing the mask. So all these things will be looked at. So there's a lot of training that we're going to actually give to team members, but not just training, what I call the service education, where our team members will understand. So how can we explain it to them in a way they understand we're doing it for them, so that we all are safe while we are spending the holiday and while our team members are serving. And obviously, a very important point here is that making sure that we listen, because a guest may not like what we do. So we can always ask them, okay, this is what we have to follow. So what can we do for you? And the other day there was an airline company who called me and asked, all their people are wearing masks. How can they smile? So I was actually teaching them, you're wearing a mask, how can you show from facial expression, from body language, that you're still warm and genuine and friendly in your service. So these things are things that we're actually doing right now and training our people. And I know my colleagues in other resorts and friends in other resorts, they're busy doing the same thing, because Maldives is always known for a great holiday destination, not just with product, but also great service. So I think that has to be the core of our operation when we reopen hotels.
I have a bonus question for you, a surprise question. Well, Maldives.
Yeah.
Maldives just opened their borders like literally less than 2 weeks ago, and probably pioneering, I would say, the opening borders processes and protocols in the Indian Ocean. Now, we know that Sri Lanka has delayed the opening. Seychelles will be opening this week, and Mauritius is still in going for the 1st of September. How is the destination responding to the new borders guidelines? I mean, the new protocols. How is it going, in your opinion, of course?
Yeah, I think in general, and I've been very closely following up and also guiding some of these areas, wherever I can in terms of the new measures, and especially in the area of service line. I think what we noticed, especially from the moment of the arrival, the airport is very well prepared. I mean, we know we have quite a lack of space there, but they're prepared it very well. They have been training their colleagues for past 4 months, so the people seems to be they seems to follow the standard very well. The arrival experience has been very, very well done, and they put a lot of people on the floor. I think they have really followed the WTO and the WHO standards. Then when you arrive to resorts, I mean, it's just been incredible. So the guests, they love the hygiene measures. They could feel that how safe it is in here. They could feel that the genuine care of the people.
And I think it's amazing how to see that we don't just run after our returning customers, or probably trying to generate new customers today. What we are doing is also looking after the people that are creating that new normal experience. And I think the work that you're doing is remarkable. Would you like to leave us with I don't know, with a message of post-pandemic hope, or how would you restore travel confidence? What would you say to the customers today?
I think my key message that is, really, be nice to each other. I mean, this is a very tough time. I've been saying this to all our colleagues and also to my, industry colleagues, that the last 4 months was actually sailing through this. Our survival starts when we reopen the business, because when you reopen the business, your costs are going to be even higher. So you have to really watch every expense, but also at the same time not to compromise the standards for people, the employees, not to compromise the standards for our guests. Even if you can't give something to someone, there's always a nicer way to tell it to them rather than I can't give it to you. So that kind of mind. So I think really, let's be nice to everyone. We know it's a very tough time. Let's be nice to each other. We will get through this, and I think we need to watch our own behaviors when we are in public areas, when we're traveling around, because it will impact other people and their health actually.
That's a beautiful message. Thank you, Afeef. Thank you so much for taking the time today and sharing these informations. And I think it's a conversation that will continue. And we'll probably have you soon again on this series of interviews. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dolores. Lovely speaking to this show today, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.